All right, so guys, this is number 6 out of 5.2, and it says the monthly utility bills in a city are normally distributed with a mean of $100 and a standard deviation of 13. Find the probability that a randomly selected utility bill is A, less than 66, B, between 89 and 120, and C, more than 140. Okay, so let's do part A. And so the first thing I'm going to do here is, let's see, we know that our mean is equal to 100, and we know that our standard deviation is 33, okay? And so when I'm doing part A, it says less than 66, right? So what I'm trying to figure out is what is the probability that x is smaller than 66? So what we want to do is we want to convert this x value to a z-score, okay? So remember, the way I find my z-scores, z is going to be equal to x minus mu over sigma, right? So remember, the mu is my average, my mean, and the sigma is my standard deviation. So in this case, my x number is 66. So I'm going to say 66 minus 100 over, I put 33 and it's 13. There we go. Okay. So over 13. Now guys, I'm going to do this on my calculator. And the way I'm going to go ahead and do this, I'm going to put this part here in parentheses, okay? So let me get my calculator. Here we go. Let me clear all this out. So I'm going to go 66 minus 100. And then we're going to divide this guy by 13. And I'm getting my answer as a decimal. So on my calculator app, I'm just going to hit math. And I'm going to hit number 2. It's going to convert it to a decimal for me. And when I'm doing this, when I'm converting to a z-score, guys, my z-scores are always going to have to go to 2 decimal places. So I'm coming up with negative 2.615, negative 2.62. Okay, so my z value was negative 2.62, right? That's what we came up with. So in essence, guys, what we're doing is because we're converting this x value to a z-score, what we're going to say now is what's the probability that z is now smaller than 2.62. And sometimes we kind of get lost with, what am I really trying to find here? So I'm going to draw my normal curve. I know it's not that pretty, but you get the idea. And remember, my mean in the normal curve is always 0, and then my standard deviations are 1, 2, and 3 positive, 1, 2, and 3 negative. Okay. Now, the value that we came up with was negative 2.62. So negative 2.62 is going to be somewhere right about here. And what we're really doing here, guys, is we're trying to find the area to the left under the curve of negative 2.62. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to use my calculator, okay? And I'm going to go normal, CDF, okay? And remember, when I'm doing this, I'm going to have 2 values. I'm going to have a lower number, and I'm going to have an upper number. Since I'm going all the way to the left, if you think about my x-axis, or in this case, my z-axis, right? When I go all the way to the left this way, that's negative infinity. If I were to go all the way to the right here, that'd be positive infinity. Because I can't actually put a value for either negative or positive infinity, I'm just going to use either a really, really small number or a really, really big number. So really, really small would be negative 9,999. And then where do we stop at? We stop at that negative 2.62. So I'm going to do this part on my calculator. I'm going to go second vars. I'm going to go to normal CDF, which is my second one. And we had a negative 9999, comma, negative 2.62. Okay. And so my answer here, I believe it says to go to 4 decimal places, is going to be 0.0044. Okay. So my answer for part A is going to be 0.0044. Now, I'm going to do part B. Okay. So part B says, find it so that the value is between 89 and 120. So we're saying, what's the probability that my bill is going to be between 89 and 120? We said earlier that our mean was 100 and that our standard deviation was 13. So I'm going to do this part again, and I'm going to have to find 2 z values, okay? One of them for 89 and one for 120. So my z-score for 89 is going to be x minus mu over sigma. So this is going to be 89 minus 100 over 13. I'll do this part of my calculator again. 89 minus 100 over 13. Let's convert that to a decimal. And so negative 0.85. Okay. Negative 0.85. Now I'm going to do the same thing again for the other value. Okay. What I mean by the other value is the 120. So I'm going to go 120 minus 100 over 13. Okay. So let me do this part on my calculator. So I'm going to go 120 minus 100 divided by 13. And let's convert that to a decimal as well. And I'm coming up with 1.54. So 1.54. So now what we're going to do, because we converted these x values to z-scores, we're going to say what's the probability that z is between negative 0.85 and 1.54. So again, just to give you an idea, what is it that I'm really doing here? Here's my normal curve, right? Remember, my mean in the normal curve is 0, and then my deviations are 1, 2, and 3 to the right, 1, 2, and 3 to the left. Okay, and the two numbers that we came up with were negative 0.85, so it's going to be somewhere right about here, and 1.54, which is somewhere right about there. And what we're doing is we're looking for the area between those two values, okay? So I'm trying to find what's the area here in the blue. So again, I'm going to use my normal CDF, right? And remember, we're going to have two numbers. We're going to have a lower number and we're going to have an upper number. Well, my lower number is that negative 0.85. And my upper number is this 1.54. So let me do this piece here on my calculator. I'll get it here going. So we're going to go second, then vars. We're going to use number 2, the normal CDF. We had a negative 0.85, comma, and then a 1.54. And my answer here to 4 decimal places is going to be 0.7406. So 0.7406. Every time we're doing these probabilities, my answers, it's usually going to tell you to go to 4 decimal places, right? And then we did have a part C. So let me see what was part C. Here we go. More than 140. Okay, we can do the same thing here. So we're trying to figure out what's the probability that X is more than 140. So remember, my mu is still 100, right? My standard deviation is still 13. So the first thing I'm going to do here, y'all, I'm going to find my z value, okay? So remember, it's x minus mu over sigma. So in this case, my x is 140 minus 100 over 13. Let me do this on my calculator. So I'm going to go 140 minus 100. We're going to divide this by 13. We're going to convert that to a decimal. And I'm coming up with 3.08 because I got to round to 2 decimal places. So 3.08. Okay. So now, since we used to have this, right, but we've converted it to a z-score, we're now finding what's the probability that z is greater than 3.08. Here's my beautiful picture of my normal curve, right? And 1 and 2 and 3 and minus 1, minus 2, and minus 3. And I'm looking for 3.08, right? So 3.08 is just going to be just to the right of 3. And because it is greater than, I'm looking for the area to the right, okay? So one more time. Remember, I'm going to go normal, CDF, right? Remember, we're going to have a lower number and an upper number. So where are we starting at? Oh yeah, we're starting at 3.08. And because we're going all the way to the right, I'm going to use a really big number, like 9999. And let's do that one more time. 3.08, comma, 9999. And to 4 decimal places, I'm going to come up with 0.0010. So 0.0010. And that's how I'm doing each of these parts. So guys, the main thing about this problem, convert your x value to z-scores. All you're going to do is rewrite this part now using the z. And then the part that helps me the most, just draw a little picture, because then you get a visual of what it is you're trying to do. Okay? I hope this helps. You got any questions? Let me know.